decimating Iran. It's about time. And frankly, it should have been done long before me. It should have been done before other presidents.
The question every pundit on television is getting wrong right now is not whether the United States can project force into the Middle East. They have been doing that for 80 years. The question, the only question that matters, is how fast and how precisely can 20,000 combat-ready soldiers, paratroopers, Marines, and heavy bombers converge on a single operational theater before the adversary can adapt. Because speed is not a morale statistic, speed is a physics problem. And today, we are going to break down the exact mechanical and logistical chain that answers it. With the order to bring 20,000 troops to combat readiness, military units across the country began assembling their personnel. That sentence sounds simple. It is not simple. What it actually describes is the simultaneous activation of one of the most complex logistical machines ever engineered by human beings. Trucks pulling up to barracks, soldiers loading rucksacks packed with changes of clothing, hygiene kits, first aid supplies, rations, personal essentials, climbing aboard with one destination, the Middle East, for an undetermined period. Notice what that phrase means operationally, undetermined period. These men and women are not packing for a week, they are packing for a campaign. Every kilogram on their back was calculated. Every item on that list is a weight versus survival trade-off made at the individual soldier level, thousands of times, simultaneously, across dozens of bases. That is not logistics, that is applied physics at human scale. While the conventional forces were loading trucks, the airborne units were operating on an entirely different timeline and an entirely different physics equation. Paratroopers had already rigged their main parachutes on their backs, reserve chutes on their chests. They carried their weapons in soft rifle cases, slung over their shoulders alongside their combat packs. 2 columns, marching towards C-17 Globemaster III aircraft on the taxiway, ramps down, engines running. Let us pause on that image for a moment, because what you are seeing is the forward edge of American power projection. The C-17 Globemaster III carries a maximum payload of 77,500 kilograms, over 4,400 nautical miles without refueling. But that is not why paratroopers board it before anyone else. They board it first because they will be on the ground before the bulk of conventional forces even arrive by air transport. Think about what that sentence means in terms of the kill chain. Paratroopers jump, they land, they rally, they establish the forward perimeter that every other element of the force will flow into. They are the first variable in the equation. Human beings dropped from the sky to physically claim ground before a single truck or helicopter has arrived. That is vertical envelopment. That is the geometric logic of airborne warfare. And it has not changed since Normandy. It has only become more precise. On a separate airfield, ground crews were loading ordnance onto a B-52H Stratofortress. This bomber had its own mission, deep inside Iran. The weapons being loaded were not subtle. 2,000-pound Mark 84 general-purpose bombs, each one nearly 13 feet long, over 1.5 feet in diameter. Let us talk about what a Mark 84 actually does to a hardened target, because television will not explain this to you. At detonation, a single Mark 84 produces a lethal fragmentation radius of approximately 360 meters. The crater it leaves in reinforced concrete is roughly 15 meters wide and 4 meters deep. These are not warning shots, these are engineering solutions to fortified problems. Forklifts and bomb loaders brought each munition to the aircraft one at a time, hoisted into the internal rotary launcher inside the bomb bay, mounted on external wing pylons. Ground crew guided each weapon into position, locked the mounting hooks, connected the arming wires, secured everything in place. The B-52H can carry up to 31,500 kilograms of mixed ordnance. That is 70,000 pounds of precision-guided and unguided munitions on a single airframe. An airframe, by the way, that first flew in 1952 and is projected to remain in service until 2050. The pundits will tell you about stealth, about fifth-generation fighters, and those things matter. But the B-52H is what you send when you need something erased, not just degraded, not just disrupted, erased. The crew checked their oxygen masks, tested the regulators, adjusted the fit. The flight to target would be long, hours at high altitude. The oxygen system had to function perfectly for the entire duration. That detail, the oxygen mask check, is the detail television ignores, but it is the detail that tells you everything about the operational reality of long-range strategic bombing. The crew of that B-52 will be airborne for over 12 hours. They are not launching from next door. They are executing a mission that spans thousands of nautical miles, multiple air refueling windows, and precise weapons release coordinates calculated days in advance. 8 turbofan engines winding up one after another. The aircraft taxied to the runway, used nearly the full length, lifted off under the weight of its full bomb load, climbing gradually, slowly, into the sky. That image, the slow climb of a fully loaded B-52, is one of the most consequential images in modern warfare, because what is lifting off that runway is not just a bomber, it is a decision, made hours or days ago, that will express itself as physics downrange, at a time and place the adversary cannot predict. If you are still watching right now, you are exactly who this channel is built for. You do not want headlines. You want the mechanical reality underneath the headlines. You want to understand why an oxygen mask check at 30,000 feet matters to the outcome of a campaign 3,000 miles away. Hit subscribe and type ready in the comments if you are here for the engineering, not the theater. On an aircraft carrier at sea, Marines prepared for departure. Their helicopter, a Sikorsky CH-53E Super Stallion, was already parked on the flight deck, rotors folded. The CH-53E is not a transport helicopter in the civilian sense. It is a heavy-lift vertical assault platform with a maximum gross weight of 33,300 kilograms, a range of 860 nautical miles with external tanks, and the structural capacity to carry 55 combat-ready soldiers or 32,000 pounds of external cargo on its 3-hook system. Rotors unfolded. Engines started. Marines boarded through the aft ramp, took their seats. The CH-53 lifted off the deck and headed inland. Meanwhile, at Allied airfields across the region, Sikorsky UH-60 Blackhawks were also in the air, flying in pairs and groups, moving soldiers from staging bases to forward positions. Land, drop off, fly back, pick up more, repeat. That rhythm, land, drop, return, repeat, is the circulatory system of a modern expeditionary force. It is not glamorous. It is not on the front page. But without it, the paratroopers on the ground have no resupply. The Marines at the forward camp have no reinforcement. The heavy equipment arriving by follow-on flights has no one to receive it. The helicopters are the connective tissue of the kill chain. Remove them, and the entire organism stops functioning. When the C-17 carrying the paratroopers reached the drop zone, the crew sent the signal. Jump masters gave the commands. The paratroopers stood, hooked up, checked their static lines, and began jumping, one by one. Parachutes deployed in a long trail behind the aircraft. Within minutes, the entire stick was on the ground, collecting their chutes, moving to the rally point. Now let us talk about what happens in those minutes on the ground, because this is where the geometry of the operation becomes decisive. The paratroopers who just landed are the forward edge of a 3-dimensional operational web. Above them, aircraft. Behind them, vehicles and supplies arriving on follow-on C-17s. Flanking them, Blackhawks repositioning additional personnel, and converging on their position from the sea, the Marines. Everyone began the process of establishing their positions, digging in, setting up communications, distributing ammunition, building the camp that would serve as their base of operations. This is Expeditionary Advanced Base Operations, EABO, in its purest form. Not a single massive force pushing through a front, but a network of precision-placed elements, each one solving a specific part of the equation, each one connected to the others through communications, aviation, and pre-planned logistics chains. The adversary does not face one threat. They face geometry. They face a problem that arrives from multiple vectors simultaneously, and there is no single countermeasure that solves it. Before any of this moved, someone ran the math. How many C-17 sorties to deliver 20,000 troops and their equipment? How many helicopter cycles to flow them from staging to forward positions? How many B-52 flight hours to reach every hardened target on the list? How many tanker aircraft to keep the bombers and fighters airborne long enough to complete their missions? That math, the unglamorous industrial math of strategic logistics, is what the television panel will never discuss. They will show you the paratroopers jumping. They will show you the B-52 taking off. They will not show you the 6,000 personnel at the logistics bases making it possible. They will not show you the pre-positioned war stocks, the ammunition, the fuel, the spare parts that were moved into theater months before this order was given. The order to bring 20,000 troops to readiness did not create this capability. It activated it. The paratroopers are on the ground. The Marines are at their sector. The soldiers are at their posts. The B-52 is airborne, climbing slowly under 70,000 pounds of ordnance, heading toward coordinates that were calculated with more precision than the pundits will ever understand. The armor is en route. The heavy equipment is landing. The force is assembled, equipped, and ready. This is not a deployment. This is a machine, built over decades, tested in every theater from the Pacific to the Persian Gulf, arriving at the equation with the answer already computed. The adversary built a problem. The United States built the solution before the problem existed. Strike brief. We do not cover the war. We solve it.